Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today we're going to be doing a Gadget deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one guys because I've actually changed this deck up a lot since last time. I've actually made it more of like an Earth Machine aspect where you can actually make some really insane rank 10 and rank 4 plays in this particular deck. It's a really fun deck that you can actually pick up for a very budget price for the main deck, which is really awesome. And I am excited to show you guys this particular deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of notifications squad, and definitely check out that Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name in the description of a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Green Gadget. So Green Gadget, upon summon, which has the ability that basically you're going to get to search a copy of Red Gadget from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Red Gadget that when this card is summoned, you get to search Yellow Gadget. And then we play 2 copies of Yellow Gadget, which searches Green Gadget, which is really cool because as long as you have a Gadget monster in your hand, you're going to be searching the other Gadget monsters from your deck to your hand, which helps out a lot in this particular deck to always have a normal summon. We're then going to be playing 2 copies of Gold Gadget, which is a really good card in the deck too. That when this card is normal or special summon, you get to special summon 1 level 4 machine monster from your hand. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 gadget monster from your deck, except another copy of Gold Gadget. We then play 2 copies of Silver Gadget, which does the exact same thing as Gold Gadget, except you can't special summon out your copies of your Silver Gadgets from the deck, just like Gold Gadget can't special summon out copies of Gold Gadget, which is really a good effect to kind of balance the card. We then play 3 copies of Boot Up Corporal Command Dynamo. I still think 3 copies of this card is really good in the deck because it lets you target 2 of your machine gadget monsters you control or in your graveyard with different names and special summon this card from your hand. Then equip those targets to this card, and then this card also gains 1,000 attack points for every card equipped to it. But this card is easily, like, you have plenty of ways to actually get those cards off back onto the field, which is really helpful for this particular deck, and it works really well with the boss monster of the main deck. We then play 3 copies of Boot Up Admiral Destroyer Dynamo. Destroyer Dynamo has some really awesome effects because it has the ability it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned for your hand by sending 2 gadget monsters from your hand or face them in your field to the graveyard, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects while you control a gadget monster or a gadget monster card equipped to a monster. And then once per turn, you can target 1 other card on the field and just destroy that card, which is really helpful for this particular deck just to be able to pop a card on the field. And this card is actually a pretty good boss monster, especially in combo with the Command Dynamo, because if you use this card to then send 2 gadgets from your hand to the graveyard, you're going to already set up your copy of Command Dynamo to special summon the Command Dynamo to your side of the field, and then you haven't even basically summoned another monster to get out like a copy of, say, a rank 4, where you can use your Gold Gadget to then special summon out your Corporal and then go into a rank play, which is really helpful for the particular deck. We then play some Earth Machine stuff in the form of Fortress. Fortress is really good because you just discard this card and any other card from your hand to special summon it to your side of the field, and it's really easy to get this monster onto your side of the field as well. Play a single copy of Citadel. Citadel helps out a lot in the deck too, especially with Overflow in this deck, because Overflow is a really good card and it helps you pop cards on the field, which is really awesome, especially during your opponent's turn, because you can quick effect target a machine monster you control, destroy that machine monster, and then all monsters your opponent control with attack less than or equal to that monster, which can really interrupt your opponent's plays. We play 3 copies of Metal Cruncher as well. Metal Cruncher is a really good card because you can normal summon this card without tributing if you control no face-up cards, and then reveal 3 Earth Machine monsters in your deck, and then your opponent randomly picks 1 and adds it to your hand, which can be literally any of your gadget cards, or it can be your copies of your Destroyer Dynamos, which is pretty good for this particular deck. We play 2 copies of Express Train. Express Train is really good too because if you control an Earth Machine, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is really good. And then during the end phase of this card's in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can target a machine monster in your graveyard, or that's a machine monster, and added that card to your hand, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Deca Crane as well. The 2 copies of Deca Crane are basically here that if a Earth Machine monster is normal or special summoned to your field, then you can special summon this card from your hand, but you half its attack and defense, which is not that big of a deal to just half the attack and defense of this card. It goes down to 14 1000, which is not that big of a deal, and if it's detached as a material for a XZ monster, you get to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it, which helps out with your rank 10 10 plays you play in the deck. 1 copy of Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede, because Railroad Stampede helps out in the deck a lot, because when you normal or special summon this card, you can target an Earth Machine monster in the graveyard and special summon it in defense position. And also you can target a machine monster on your side of the field, and then copy the level of that monster to this card, or make this card the same level as the other monster, which helps out to make rank 10 plays in the deck. We then play a single copy of Ancient Gearbox. Ancient Gearbox is basically here because you're going to use this card with your Ancient Gear Ballista to then search this card and then grab a monster from the deck that has 500 or less defense or attack, which is actually going to be your copy of your Command Dynamo that you're usually going to be summoning off this card, but it gets you an additional monster in the hand, which is really helpful for this particular deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. And so for the spells, we have a lot of good spells in this deck. So we're going to open up with a single copy of Double or Nothing, which you guys know is one of my favorite cards in the entire game. What this card does is basically with all of the level 4 monsters that you're going to be able to go into in this deck, you got to play Utopia Double, because basically what you're going to do is make a copy of Utopia Double using 2 level 4 monsters in this particular deck, like a copy of Gold Gadget and then Silver Gadget, make Utopia Double, detach a material from it, and then search your copy of Double or Nothing, overlay on top of that copy of Utopia Double a copy of Utopia. It comes out at 5,000. You can then attack your opponent with that copy of Utopia, detach a material from that card, and then swing again by dropping the Double or Nothing for 10,000, which can pretty much be a complete OTK, which is really awesome as long as their monster has less than 2,000 attack and it's in attack position, even if they have 8,000, which is really awesome. We then play 3 copies of Boot Up Order Gear Change. This card helps out a lot in the deck, especially comboing with your copies of your Boot Up Admirals and your copies of your Boot Up Dynamos. This card helps out a lot because what it does is when this card is activated, you get to target any number of gadget monsters you control that are equipped to a monster and special summon them. And then you can also use the effect that you can discard a card to add a Boot Up Admiral, Destroy Dynamo from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good to be able to just immediately add those cards from deck to hand, and just being able to special summon those monsters back to your side of the field that are equipped to your copy of your monsters helps you go into Link plays, it helps you go into XZ's plays, which is really, really good to just get those monsters back on the field, which is why I love this card. It helps you swarm the field. We then play 3 copies of Urgent Schedule. Urgent Schedule helps out the deck a lot too because you play different levels now in this particular deck, but if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon a level 4 or lower and a level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from your deck in defense position, but their effects are negated, which is pretty good just to be able to get those monsters on your side of the field so you can start Link playing during your turn or making XZs during the next turn, depending on what you summon and what you have in your hand. We then play 3 copies of Redeployment as well. For the last 3 spells, Redeployment helps out in the deck a lot because you're going to be able to just discard a card from your hand to add 2 Machina cards from your deck to your hand that are monsters if you don't discard another Machina. But if you discard a Machina, then you can add another 2 Machina cards with different names from your deck to your hand, like your 3 copies of Overflow when we get into the traps. So that's it for the spell cards. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Overdrive. Overdrive is going to be the main card that you're going to be searching off your Redeployment. This card is absolutely insane. It just lets you target a machine monster you control, and you can special summon another Machina from the deck with a different name. Or you can also use the effect to be able to shuffle this card or banish this card to be able to target 3 of your Earth Machines that are banished or in the graveyard, and then shuffle those targets back in the deck and then draw a card, which is a really good effect just to be able to shuffle 3 back into the deck and then draw a card to be able to like kind of refresh your gadgets a little bit is why I play this card. Now, the only downside of this card is it does destroy the card that you target to special summon out the other monster from the deck, but usually getting a Citadel as a payoff is really important for this particular deck, so it helps out a lot with this particular combo. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget is really good. It's a good extender in this deck. It can be used as link material, and it has the ability that if this card is on your side of the field and it's link summoned this turn, it has the ability to, during your main phase, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower machine monster from your hand to a zone this card points to. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 gadget monster from your deck, which is pretty good to get that every single turn of that effect, but it can't be used as link material the turn it is link summoned. We then play a single copy of Access Code Talker, which could be a Borreload or a Borrelsaur, but this helps out to be able to just pop cards on the field I really like this card in this deck. It's a really good boss monster for the deck, just to have a big beat stick and also popping cards left and right with this card. We then play a single copy of Unicorn. Unicorn just spins stuff, which is really nice. One copy of Phoenix because it pops spells and traps. Pentastag, because Pentastag helps you out a lot with this deck because it inflicts piercing damage with the monster that it points to, which is really good. We play a single copy of IP Masquerade because it helps you link summon during your opponent's turn. One copy of Ancient Gear Ballista to do the Gearbox combo where you just search the Gearbox and then Gearbox lets you search another card, which helps out. And then a single copy of Double-Headed Anger Knuckler. This card helps out a lot with the rank 10 plays. Play a single copy of Utopia Double because it helps you just go out with that big 10,000 beat stick of a monster, which is just absolutely insane for this deck. One copy of Utopia because you're going to make this on top of your copy of Utopia Double, which helps out this deck a lot. One copy of Heavy Armored Train Ironwood. This card is literally a little Zeus machine. What this card does is once per turn, you can detach material from this card to target a machine type monster you control. This turn, it can attack directly, and also other monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, by battle or by card effect, then you instant to the graveyard, you can add a level 4 Earth Machine or a level 4 machine monster from your deck to your hand. This card is really good because it makes a machine monster, including itself, be able to attack directly, which basically gives you a XZ that can immediately inflict damage to your opponent, and then summon a Zeus during main phase 2. We then play a single copy of Zeus because Zeus is really good in this deck to be able to just make this card and be able to board wipe your opponent. We play a single copy of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Gustav Max inflicts 2,000 to your opponent, which is really good by detaching material. Number 81 because it makes something immune to everything, and then a single copy of Juggernaut Libby, because you can actually make this card in this deck, and it's really awesome to think that the little gadgets are actually manning the cannon, and it's really awesome. But this card is really good because basically it's a good OTK piece for the deck to be able to go into a 6,000 attack point monster to be able to OTK your opponent. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's a really awesome deck to play around with, and it's a really relatively budget deck for the main deck. The extra deck has a couple of cards like Zeus that you could change out for like a Gearganta X, and you could even change out if you really wanted to the copy of Access Code if you want to change that particular card out for say a Borload or a Bulbasaur to make this deck extremely budget. This deck was actually featured when I did the top 5 decks for budget prices in one of the videos, which is really cool to actually look into those videos as well. If you guys have not checked out the top 5 budget deck videos, you definitely should check those out. So anyways, guys, this is Dark Armed Duels. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.